All right, let's talk about getting the most out of your workouts. Today, we are diving deep into the actual science of exercise, all to help you unlock your true potential. Let's jump right in. So, does this sound familiar? You're hitting the gym, you're putting in the work, you're sweating, but you're just not seeing the results you were hoping for. It's super frustrating, right? But you're definitely not alone. And the good news? There's usually a pretty simple reason for it. See, the secret isn't always about just grinding harder. It's about training smarter. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We are literally going to hand you the blueprint, a science-backed framework to make every single drop of sweat actually count. And that blueprint, it's called the FITT principle. Just think of it like a four-part plan for success. It's the foundation for building pretty much any effective workout program. Doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've been training for years. So what in the world is FITT? Well, it's an acronym, and it stands for four things: frequency, intensity, time, and type. These are the four big levers you can pull to really dial in your workouts and tailor them exactly to what you want to achieve. Okay, let's run through them real quick. Frequency, that's just how often you're working out. Intensity, well, that's how hard you're pushing yourself. Time is pretty straightforward. It's how long you're exercising for. And type is the what. Are you running, lifting weights, swimming, that kind of thing. Now, here's the thing. All four of those are important for sure. But intensity is the real game changer. It's the key that unlocks serious progress. Pushing yourself just the right amount, not too little, not too much. That's what tells your body, hey, it's time to adapt and get stronger. Okay, but intensity is kind of vague, right? Like, how hard is hard enough? This is where we've got to get a little more scientific. We need to talk about finding your personal target zone. So your body acts totally different depending on how hard you're working. Think of it like different gears on a bike. These gears are called training thresholds, and the easiest way to know which one you're in is by checking your heart rate. When you train in the right heart rate zone, you're making sure you get the exact results you're after, whether that's boosting your endurance or, say, burning fat. And this chart breaks it down perfectly. You've got two main zones here. First, there's the moderate intensity zone, sitting at about 50 to 70% of your max heart rate. This is your sweet spot for building general fitness and endurance, but then you have the vigorous zone. That's up there at 70 to 85%. That's where the magic happens for really pushing your performance and getting next-level results. Okay, but that leads to the big question, doesn't it? How do you actually figure out your specific heart rate zones? I mean, saying 70% is kind of useless if you don't know what it's 70% of. We need to make this personal. We've got to figure out what those numbers mean for you and you alone. And that, my friends, is where this awesome tool comes into play. It's called the Carvonin formula, and you can basically think of it as your own personal intensity calculator. It's designed to give you super precise, totally individualized training zones. Now, what makes this so much better than those basic formulas you see everywhere? Well, most of them just use your age. The Carvone formula is smarter. It also uses your resting heart rate. And why is that a big deal? Because your resting heart rate is a fantastic snapshot of your current fitness level. So by including it, the whole calculation becomes way, way more accurate and truly personalized. All right, don't freak out. There's a little bit of math here, but I promise it's easy. Step 1, find your max heart rate. The classic way is just 220 minus your age. Simple. Step 2, find your resting heart rate. Easiest way is to take your pulse first thing in the morning. Step 3, you subtract that resting rate from your max rate. That gives you something called your heart rate reserve. That's basically your true working range. And for the final step, you just multiply that reserve number by the intensity percentage you're aiming for, and then add your resting heart rate back on. That's it. Let's look at a real example to make this super clear. Okay, so we've got a 30-year-old. Their max heart rate is 190, right? 220 minus 30. Let's say their resting heart rate is 65 beats per minute. You do the subtraction and their heart rate reserve is 125. So if they want to train in that vigorous zone between 70 and 85%, boom, their target is to keep their heart rate somewhere between 152 and 171 beats per minute. See how that works? It's not a guess anymore. It's a specific, actionable number. And that's the whole point, really. You're no longer just guessing if you're working hard enough. You now have the power to go from vague, generic advice to a training plan that is scientifically tailored just for you. This is the tool that makes sure every single minute you spend working out is actually doing what you want it to do. Okay, so here's your action plan, your smarter training checklist. First, define your goals using FITT. What do you want to do? Second, seriously, take 5 minutes after this and calculate your personal training zones. Third, start using them. Pay attention to your heart rate when you work out. And last but not least, track everything. As you get fitter, your numbers will change, so you'll need to adjust. So there you have it. You've got the science, you've got the tools, and you've got the plan to stop wandering around the gym and start training with real purpose. You literally have the blueprint to build a stronger, fitter you. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?